Hello dear students, let us understand one more topic, that is post-translational modification of the protein. As you know that synthesis of polypeptide is not equivalent to the production of a functional protein. To be useful for the polypeptide, it must fold into a correct three-dimensional conformation, and in many cases the polypeptide chain must undergo further modification that includes the cleavage or the covalent attachment of the carbohydrate or the lipid attachment. So, and these modifications are essential for the critical function of the protein as well as correct localization of the protein. So, in this particular topic, we will understand 5 different types of modification. So, let's begin with the first modification. So, first is the chaperone and protein folding. So, basic principle of protein folding is that all the information that is required for the protein to adopt a correct three-dimensional conformation is provided by the amino acid sequence. So basically amino acid sequence have all the information that is required for the protein folding. It was first established by the Christian Anfinsen. In his experiment, he demonstrated that how the denatured RNAs can spontaneously refold in vitro in its active conformation. So therefore the protein folding is a self-assembly process. Later on, many other proteins were discovered that help the protein folding. So chaperones are those proteins which help in proper folding of the newly synthesized proteins. So the term chaperone was first given by the Ron Lesky for the nucleoplasmin proteins. So these chaperones basically catalyze the protein folding by assisting the self-assembly process. So chaperone bind to the N-terminal end of the newly synthesized polypeptide chain, and then it stabilizes in its unfolded configuration until the synthesis is completed. Then after complete synthesis, this chaperone release the newly synthesized polypeptide um, and in its proper folded conformation. So there are basically two families of the chaperonin proteins that are involved in the protein folding. One is heat shock protein chaperonins, and then second is chaperonin family. These two families of the chaperonin protein act in general pathway of the protein folding in both prokaryote and eukaryotes. So first the chaperones, they bind to the unfolded, the newly synthesized polypeptide, and this unfolded polypeptide is then transferred to the chaperonin family. So this chaperonin consists of multiple protein subunit arranged in two rings to form a double chambered structure. So this chamber, inside this chamber, this newly synthesized polypeptide goes, and then because of the isolated environment, this protein is properly folded and then released in its final folded configuration. So this heat shock protein 70, they bind to the short hydrophobic segment of the newly synthesized polypeptide, which is about 7 amino acid long, and they stabilize this unfolded polypeptide, and chaperonin help in proper folding of the polypeptide in its 3D configuration. Then there are certain enzymes that play important role in protein folding. These enzymes basically catalyze the bond formation. Like first is the protein disulfide isomerase. This enzyme catalyzes the disulfide bond formation. So suppose this is the enzyme, so multiple different disulfide bond formation is possible. Bond between 1 and 3rd and 2 and 4 is possible. Bond between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 is possible. So basically this PDI play important role by promoting the rapid exchange between the paired disulfide, thereby allowing the protein to attain a pattern of disulfide bond that is compatible with its stably folded configuration. So basically this PDI enzyme catalyze different bond formation, and finally the most stable bond formation is then retained in the folded protein. Then next is the peptidyl prolyl isomerase. Normally the peptide bond that precedes the proline residue is only in slightly in favor of the trans form. However, other peptide bonds, they almost remain in the trans form. So because of the cis form, this limitation of the cis configuration preceding the proline residue, so this becomes a rate limiting step in the protein folding. So this enzyme peptidyl prolyl isomerase this change the cis configuration towards the trans configuration, and thereby now it is possible to properly fold the protein in its trans configuration. So this enzyme basically catalyzes the isomerization of the peptide bond that involve the proline residue, and therefore it help in the um, proper protein folding, because the protein folding is mainly done with the trans configuration rather than the cis configuration. And the proline, because of its difficult structure, it is very difficult to keep the preceding amino acid in its transform. It naturally it remain in the cis configuration. So this enzyme convert the preceding amino acid from cis to trans. Then the third modification that occur in the protein is the protein cleavage. So basically cleavage of the polypeptide chain is very important step for the maturation of the many protein. A very simple example is the removal of initiator methionine from the amino terminus end of the polypeptide. Then um, there are certain protein which are secreted out of the cell. They contain the signal sequence that is about 22 amino acid long signal sequence. So this amino terminal signal sequence is helpful in the targeting of the protein towards the secretion pathway. So this signal sequence is cleaved by the specific membrane protease signal peptidase, and therefore this removal of the signal sequence is essential for its further targeting of the protein. Then there are many other enzymes also which are modified or by the protein cleavage. Like in case of insulin, the first modification is removal of this signal sequence, and then this connective polypeptide is also removed to make a final functional insulin hormone. So this is the third modification, that is protein cleavage, where the modification is essential for production of a functional enzyme. Then fourth modification that occur in the protein is addition of the carbohydrate molecule or carbohydrate moiety to the polypeptide chain, and such modification is called as glycosylation. The example is glycoprotein. So basically there are two class of the glycosylation or glycoprotein, uh, N-linked and O-linked, depending upon the site of attachment of the carbohydrate chain. In N-linked glycoprotein, the carbohydrate is attached to the nitrogen atom in the side chain of the asparagine, and in O-linked glycoprotein, the oxygen atom in the side chain of the serine is the site where the carbohydrate is attached. Further, the sugar directly attached to these protein are usually either N-acetyl glucosamine or N-acetyl galactosamine in N-linked and O-linked respectively. So most of the glycoprotein in eukaryotes that are destined for secretion, they are first attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. So the these protein are usually transferred to the endoplasmic reticulum, and then the translation progress. So glycosylation is also initiated in the endoplasmic reticulum. So the first step is the transfer of a common oligosaccharide that is about 14 sugar residue. In this 14 sugar residue, 2 are N-acetyl glucosamine, 3 are glucose, and 9 mannose. And this 14 sugar residue is added to the asparagine residue of the growing polypeptide chain. So this oligosaccharide is assembled first within the endoplasmic reticulum on a lipid carrier that is known as dolichol phosphate. It is then transferred as an intact unit to the asparagine residue within the newly synthesized polypeptide chain. Then further modification occur in this newly added 14 sugar residue. The 3 glucose are first removed, then few more carbohydrates are added, or a few more modifications occur, like mannose residue is removed, and other sugars are added in the Golgi complex. So these modification further ensure the proper fine tuning of the processing of the N-linked oligosaccharide. Then in O-linked oligosaccharide, which is added in the Golgi apparatus, this in contrast with the N-linked oligosaccharide, O-linked oligosaccharide are formed by addition of one sugar at a time. Remember, in N-linked oligosaccharide, a complete 14 sugar residue is added first and then processing occur. While in O-linked oligosaccharide, each sugar moiety is added one by one, and therefore only few carbohydrates are added to this newly synthesized polypeptides. So this is the basic difference between the N-linked and O-linked. N-linked is a nitrogen atom at the asparagine, O-linked is oxygen atom at the serine or threonine. In N-linked, a complete 14 sugar residue is added at one go from the dolichol phosphate, and then it is processed, while in O-linked, one by one each sugar is added. Then the last modification is attachment of the lipid. Some protein in the cells are modified by the attachment of the lipid to the polypeptide chain. So basically there are three main types of the modification. First is myristoylation, then pre-ylation, and then palmitoylations. So in myristoylation, first initiator methionine is removed from the polypeptide chain, and then terminal glycine is then is modified by addition of the 14 carbon myristic acid. So such protein with such modification are associated with the inner face of the plasma membrane. So this protein is finally targeted to the inner face of the plasma membrane. Then second is prenylation. So in this modification, the carboxy terminal cysteine is modified. In the first step, the 15 carbon farnesyl group is attached to the cysteine residue at the C terminal end of this polypeptide chain. Then these three residues are removed from this modified polypeptide, and then this cysteine is further modified by the methylation, and this is the final modification. So a 15 carbon farnesyl group is added, then three residues of C terminal end are removed, and a methylation occur of the terminal cysteine residue. So this is the second modification of the lipid. Then in the third modification, the internal cysteine residue is modified by the addition of the 16 carbon fatty acid. This 16 carbon fatty acid is added to the side chain of the internal cysteine residue. So this is known as palmitoylation. So basically there are three modification in the lipid. So this is all in this video. We have learned different modification of the protein that occur after the translation. Thank you for watching this video.